I've been getting a number of questions about how I turned a 16-foot cattle panel into a trellis over my raised garden bed. I intentionally designed it like this with the hopes of creating more shade in this bed. As the hot summer weather comes on, I want to add additional protection for the sub pod and the hard workers that live in there. Hi everyone, I'm Michelle and welcome back to my meadow. Today I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes tour of how I put this together. It was a crazy filming day for me. I screwed up a lot, so I have limited footage, but I will share with you the comedy of errors that I do have. And if you stick around to the end of the video, we'll get an up-close look at the specific things I did so this would stay on top of the garden bed. At first, I started with a cattle panel that already had a little bend in it, and I tried to assemble it and make it rectangular. I really did not like how that looked. Lucky for me, I had more cattle panels to work with, and so I grabbed another one and bent it in a half circle, but quickly realized I couldn't quite handle it, and so I grabbed a little pull strap or toe strap and connected the two sides together to hold them so they wouldn't bounce out. I already had these T-posts on the side of my bed, so I was trying to work with what I already had. In addition, you can probably see down at the bottom these little metal garden gates. Well, I used those to keep it from sliding off of the edges. Then I used a hose clamp to secure it. That felt more secure than just your typical post, since I was doing this in kind of a strange way. So let's get up close and take a look. I used a 16-foot cattle panel, and it is just a little bit wider than my bed. This is the standard size cattle panel, but I did notice the last time I was at Tractor Supply, they have some that seem to be just a little bit narrower this way. My garden bed here is 4 foot by 8 foot. It's made of cedar. We had that built before I got our other garden beds. So now let's take a look here up close. Down at the bottom, I have these metal gates. I just picked those up. A neighbor was throwing them away. They're heavy duty and they're pretty deep in the bed, but it keeps it from sliding that way. It's also attached with a hose clamp at the top. These T-posts were already installed in the bed, so I'm really glad I could use things I already had. As you can see, I just folded it together, tipped it up, and then stood it up over the bed. Now, the one thing that I do want to do is over here on the ends, on both corners, I want to get a little tie down just to give it some additional security. In meantime, I've already planted some tomatoes in here. Some need to be up potted still, and I'm going to start letting them climb up the trellis. One person was worried that it would create too much shade for what I'm growing in this bed, but mostly what I'm growing is to be grown on the trellis. I do have some peppers on the backside over here, but I think by the time the summer heat really starts putting on, they're really going to be happy to have just a little bit of shade in the late afternoons, and that's going to be a-okay. Also in here is some garlic, and of course that would love the shade. Funny about this garlic, I planted that at the end of 2021. Nothing ever came up, and a few months ago things started popping up, so I was pretty excited. It is an elephant garlic, if I recall. But that is how I did this. It feels pretty sturdy. I felt like using the hose clamp was a better choice than the typical connector for the fence, simply because of it being a bit precarious, only using one of them, and of course needing to support the arch that's at the top. If you like this content, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to follow along my other crazy little projects here in my Northeast Florida Zone 9A suburban garden, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, my friends, remember to drink plenty of water, wear that high quality sunscreen, and as always, have a fantastic day. That little squirrel is just a fussin'. They are not impressed that the meadow cats are perched out in the wood pile.